everybody? It's your boy Roddy Rod, and today I'm going to tackle a case that is kind of complex, and I'm going to try to do it here in a short amount of time. So I may not hit all of the details of the story, but you will get the gist of what I'm saying, and you'll understand where I'm going with this. So someone asked me to talk about Mr. Yuck Yuck, Jeffrey Epstein, and he's one of the most complex cases in American history because he's associated with so many powerful people globally. Okay, but in order to understand where we're going with that, let's go back to somewhat of his beginning. So he is the grandson of Jewish immigrants. Okay, he was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, uh, and he was actually really smart in mathematics. And you'll see it later on in life for him as well. Uh, but he graduates high school early, and then he doesn't finish college, and he starts teaching at this school, the Dalton School, which is located on the Upper East Side of Manhattan. He teaches eighth grade algebra, and he works there for about 2 years before the school gets rid of him. And they said they let him go because, hey, you know what? You're not performing to what we thought you could be, even though he never went to school to teach. It's not here nor there. So, what something that benefited him was that he then, during that time, was tutoring the grandson of Alan Greenberg. He was the CEO of some major corporate bank. But anyways, uh, later on, of course, Epstein quits working there because they collapsed in 2008. But during that time, he gets connected to some other billionaires that are CEOs of companies, and they pay him to manage their finances and to move money for them and to teach them different tax loopholes. And one of them even pays him $158 million to do it. Now, once Epstein went down in 2019 for his yucky cases, then that CEO was grilled. He stepped down, but he agreed to pay the Virgin Islands $63.5 million back as I guess in the form of I'm sorry. So uh, here's what makes him a complex case. This man could have been stopped years before. Now, we only know about the details in 2019, but what if I told you in the early 2000s he was convicted and charged with the same thing? Hmm. So, in 2005, a 14-year-old girl's parents report to the Palm Beach police that the disgraced billionaire SA'd their daughter, if you get what I'm saying, at his mansion. A month later, he gets the formal charge, but the attorney general there, uh, he does a weird thing, and instead of prosecuting the case himself, he hands it off to a grand jury. Well, that grand jury then just charges him with soliciting prostitution, and then it kind of gets swept up under the rug. But of course, there was an uproar about it because not only did he mess with this one 14-year-old girl, he also did the same to a number of other underage high school girls. So the FBI gets involved. And once the FBI gets involved, Epstein's lawyers get them tied up in all types of legal talk. And eventually, his lawyers finessed them into knocking his charges down to to about a year, and then he got to serve the rest on like a work release type program. So he'd be in jail by day or jail by night, but he was working in his office during the day, and then he just returned to the cell at night. So he got to live a weirdly normal, not normal life, if that makes sense. Uh, but anyways, years on and after that, those women who were the people who are now women now, they tried to get that federal deal voided because they were like, no, man, he owes us. He owes us some money because he did X, Y, and Z to us. And then we start getting the rumblings of the island. He gets charged. He gets arrested. He unalives himself in his cell, so we're told. Uh, but I wanted to get to that place because those women that were on that island, they told some of the same details of the girls in the early 2000s. They said, well, first he'd pay you to work for him, and then then you had to massage him, and he liked it in a very specific way. And then he started getting his friends involved. They'd pay him, and uh, they did these massages and any other favors that these people wanted. So some of the most unimaginable things to these underage girls happened on that island. You probably know where I'm going with that. Just whatever the most unimaginable thing involving a child, that's what happened. Okay. Moving forward with from there, uh, Jeffrey Epstein had a legitimate charity going as well. He donated millions of dollars to these different uh, causes globally. And so this is where it gets muddy. Why it's not as easy to charge people that are associated with him as you would think it is. Okay? He had the charity. And the majority of the celebrities, the politicians, the world leaders that you see him in contact with is because they were doing the charity. And this is the one thing that I always warn people about. We can't give someone so much love just because he or she is a good person and they do good works. Okay? This man used this charity as a cover for what he was really doing. And if I was connected to enough well-off people and powerful people, then guess what? I'll never get caught. Okay? And even if I get caught, guess what? They're going to help me sweep it up under the rug. So once that happens, we start getting. Let's fast forward here. I'm sorry. I look at the time and I see how far I'm in. We have 2020, COVID year. Okay, everybody's at home. Rumors just start flying all around the internet. Okay, and I remember arguing with people, some of my friends, back and forth on Facebook, and I kept telling them, "Hey, y'all got to be careful putting these rumors out there." Okay, I have yet to see any evidence of what you're saying, but I have seen that story on a Reddit post. And people took those posts from Reddit and they ran with it. We have the crazy Wayfair story saying that Wayfair was kidnapping kids and they were naming their furniture after it. Then people started calling Tom Hanks a creep, saying that he and his wife, by the way, his wife is of Greek descent, but saying that, they were now citizens of Greece because Greece now openly and embraced pedophilia. I I never saw that law, but that's what people were saying. Man, they matter of fact, they ran Tom Hanks off of social media. That joker started blocking comments and just stopped posting altogether. But the one thing that I always told people, you got to be careful because you don't know. And we didn't know because, again, he had a legitimate charity. Okay? Regardless of what you think. And guess what? Then you start putting, oh, I can't wait for the list to come out. I can't wait for the list to come out. Well, people are going to really be mad when I say this next part. Ladies and gentlemen, the list does not exist. Let me get a little bit closer to the mic. The list does not exist. It doesn't. That secret document that was in the court filing was from one of the victims, Miss Virginia. I think you say her last name Guthrie. I don't know how to say it, but it was her. And in that document, she told every last detail that she could remember about that island, how they were recruited, Epstein's girlfriend, and how she was involved. Okay? And she did say, yes, I saw some of these wealthy people. I saw some of these millionaires and billionaires. I saw some of these politicians, but I don't know that they did anything wrong. In fact, so far, the only person that I really know of that is accused of wrongdoing is a member of the royal family, Prince Andrew. So I want you all to just think about that. It's not as clear cut as we want it to be. It's not. It's one of the most sick cases, I think, in American history. And unfortunately, because of social media, we may not be able to fully get the truth. Why? Because social media did its thing. and it clouded our judgment.